And welcome back to day two of the Manhattan Beach Hometown Fair, the 50th anniversary. And right now I'm happy to be with Elisa Goodman of Curmudgeon Cards. Elisa, how are you today?
I'm great. It's been good.
It's been good.
I've been very busy.
That's amazing. And I know that this is your first year here at the fair, except that you took about a 12-year break. Is that right?
That is correct.
So you came back just in time for the 50th.
How great was that? I mean, this is a popular weekend for shows, so a lot of times they either don't apply in time or they're full, or I have another obligation that's the same weekend, just how it worked out.
Well, perfect. So, I mean, your art is pretty amazing. I want you to tell me a little bit about it. So, what do you do?
Basically, I'm a greeting card designer, if I was putting my art in a box. So I make handmade cards with postage stamps and recycled apparel and upholstery textiles, which I customize for clients, and they're kind of like a card and a gift in one. And then about 12 years ago, my now late husband had some issues stemming from a kidney transplant, and he ended up having some vision issues and lost his ability to see. So I started drawing as a form of therapy, and I saw that sometimes there are gifts that come out of challenges. And so this has been my own version of grief therapy, so to speak. And so all my cards are funny. They use the metaphor of sight to look at challenges with a fresh perspective. So I have greeting cards, I have posters, I have calendars, notepads, and books that I've written using my art and my life wisdom.
That's amazing. And you were talking about the eyes and the way you draw your art. Can you talk a little bit more about what you do and how you make those decisions?
Yes, I'm actually not trained as an artist. I didn't go to school, so I draw in Illustrator. So everything is kind of doodles that, because I'm not even that good at the program, became lucky accidents. And so after 12 years, I've kind of figured out if I can't erase it, I leave it, and it just becomes what it is. So a lot of people say it's very Picasso-esque, very freeform. Oh my God, you just asked me a question I don't think I answered. The eyes. So the eyes are kind of the window to your soul. And also, I think when we have challenges in life, how this line of cards, by the way, the ones with the little characters on them, is called the I'm Skewed collection. So not I'm screwed, but I'm skewed. And how you look at anything, if you just pivot a tiny, tiny bit, you can see things with a different lens. And sometimes there's a gift in an experience that we think is negative. And in this case, I mean, honestly, I could start crying. I wouldn't have this if he hadn't lost his ability to see. I was in a cancer support group, and I just realized that I just found that there weren't good encouragement cards in the market. And I said, I'm going to take this lane and run with it and see difficult conversations where people kind of don't know the right thing to say. I'm going to say it in my own way. And because they're funny, and the drawings are whimsical, and the text is whimsy, it's kind of an icebreaker. So it makes a challenging situation a little bit easier because people want to say something. They want to connect with you, right? Especially we found that during COVID. You know, people were dying, and it's like, what do you say? And they don't want to not say anything because that would be bad. So this really allows a conversation to be reimagined. That's really what I do. It's the art of reimagining conversation. And I'm so just blessed every day that I get to do this. I mean, it makes me so happy, and my customers are like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this. And that is just hugely gratifying. So, I'm glad, because this is one of my first shows I've done since the pandemic. And people are like, I've never seen you before. Have you? I mean, I've been doing this for 22 years, but I'm kind of like my own best kept secret, right?
Well, that's wonderful. Now, you were talking a little bit about the Getty. Tell me a little bit about what you do with the Getty.
So, LA County Museum of Art was my first client. So what happens is they will get an exhibition that might be traveling. So for instance, One of the exhibitions that was traveling was the G's Benz quilts. There was a woman from South Carolina who made quilts, and the U.S. Post Office put out stamps. And that traveled to a lot of museums across the country. And so I would find the stamps and I would put them together. And then when you come out of the exhibition, they have related product, whether it's a catalog or... And so they would put my cards in kind of a basket, so to speak, and then add it. So the Getty is a little bit tricky because they have a lot of antiquity. So I can't always, I mean, I did some stuff for the Getty in Malibu because there are a lot of Greek stamps. When the Icon exhibit came from the Sinai Desert, I did a lot of cards for that. I've done Renoir, Degas, I've done Frida Kahlo. When my very first job, which is kind of a crazy thing, but the LA County Museum of Art was having a Winslow Homer exhibit. And I knew that the image that was on the poster for the exhibit was on a 4-cent US stamp because I had it in my stamp collection when I was 8. And I don't know where I got the inspiration, but I called up the gift shop and the buyer just happened to answer the phone. And I kind of just tumbled out all of this information, and she said, I never do this without seeing a sample. I have no idea what you're talking about. Come in on Wednesday at 2. And she was my first client. She said, I'll try, 18 cards. And they weren't even this nice. They weren't even using fabric. And she said, I'm going to help you. Here's who you call, to get in with the museum buyers. So this year I did quilts for the Speed Museum in Kentucky. I did cards for the San Diego Museum of Art. There's a Czech and Slovak museum in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So I do all Czech painters. I mean, who does this? It's like such a weird little niche. And, I have my, what do you call it? My fingers in the pie.
That's amazing. All artists should hear a little bit of that story in terms of what's possible and how to even connect with people. I mean, that's a great story.
Yeah. You just never know, because I was in the entertainment business. I was a casting director for 20 years. And so when I called her, I was tumbling that out as well. I used to be a casting director, and now I'm making these cards, and you're having this, and I had a stamp collection, and she's like, I can't even put it all together. But Kim Castellan she's retired now from LACMA, but she was really my mentor. And I did a lot of exhibits with her until she retired there. So it's just, you pick up the phone, and once you have, that was such a good client that opened a lot of doors. And then as my product got more sophisticated, my ex-business partner, when we were casting directors, her daughter wanted to produce a clothing line. So she went to do that. And one day she called me up and she said, you should come downtown because Rory has all these fantastic laces and remnants, and they're just sitting in a bag on the floor. Maybe you can use them. And that's how I started incorporating the fabrics, and it was a total game changer. It elevated. Because frankly, I say even to my customers, we all don't need more stuff. But if you can have something, if you know somebody loves horses and you just stayed at their house and you want to send a thank you note that's personalized to them that they can frame, and the card is the gift and your thoughtfulness, they will open it up and say, oh my God, where did you find this? And it helps you connect to them. And then they come back to me and they go, my friend sent me this amazing card. I just went on your website. Oh my God. So it's circular.
So in a sense, it's almost the opposite of Curmudgeon.
Yeah, Curmudgeon, my dad was a comedy writer. We kind of come from a little line of Curmudgeon. He died in 97. I started this in 2000. I thought it was an homage to him and that he would get a kick out of the alliteration. And over 22 years, I've been branded and trademarked Curmudgeon. So even though these aren't curmudgeonly per se, people go into stores and say, do you carry Curmudgeon cards? So I can't, it's kind of back-ass branding is all I can say. I did it wrong, but it somehow worked out.
I love this story. Elisa, thank you so much for coming over. This is such a great story.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And listen, you guys lucked out with the weather. I've been here when it has rained, and for paper, that's not always fun.
We sure did. And so we're glad to have you back.
Okay, I'll be back next year. Thank you so much.